What's up and welcome to Champions of Lore, a show about all the kick-ass stories behind some of Idle Champions' coolest campaigns and characters. Every Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here on twitch.tv/CNE Games or later on your favorite podcast service, B. Dave Walters does a dance and Erin M. Evans talks about the Idle Champions lore that's fun to know about. If you're here with us live in the chat, you can leave a question that I, Treavor Bettis, will ask them later in the show. But until then, Erin, B. Dave, take it away.
And Mehen.
I'm B. Dave Walters. I say words about things. I'm Erin's backup dancer and the stunt Treavor. That's what I bring to this. I'm your discount non-union Treavor. I say words about things. You can find me all over the interwebs wherever fine streaming content is located. I write for film and television, and the announcements are finally coming out that I'm gonna be all over D&D Live. So there you go. That's it today.
Yay.
There you go. Yeah, we are here to talk about Neverwinter. That's it. The Jewel of the North. My brain is all over the place. I apologize. Apparently I might be echoing as well. So why don't you two take it away from here for what Neverwinter is?
I don't hear you echoing, but there you go. Have at it.
There you go. Neverwinter is a city on the Sword Coast. It is north of Waterdeep, but south of Luskan, which we've talked about before last week and a long time back. It is called Neverwinter because it is right next to a volcano and there are hot springs and it stays fairly warm despite how far north it is. It is called the Jewel of the North, in fact. Yeah.
The North, yeah. Kind of got it kind of fared poorly during the spell plague though.
Yeah, it did go.
Yeah.
It wasn't
It's almost
great.
like somebody wanted to set an MMO there and create a lot of problems to solve.
It's odd. Yeah, it's kind of like, what a wonderful city you've got here. It'd be a real shame if something were to happen to it. Yeah, because
Or
like
six things.
yeah, like Baldur's Gate and Waterdeep both tend to kind of escape relatively unscathed eventually, and Neverwinter just didn't make it to that
Full
last.
scathed.
Yeah, highly scathed. Neverwinter, highly scathed.
Neverwinter is the setting of the first book in my series, Brimstone Angels. So there are parts of it that at one point I was very familiar with. But it is the setting of the Neverwinter MMO.
Which Sergeant Knox is from, who is a new champion to join the Idle Champions, and is actually one of like my favorite characters because of the MMO. And like, namely just because every time you walk up to him, he just goes, "Protector's Enclave!" And I love the enthusiasm of that voice actor so much so I put him in my home game just so I could go, "Protector's Enclave!" just all the time to my players.
How do they feel about it?
Oh, they love him. They absolutely love him. I basically... go ahead.
No, please finish.
I basically play him like Armstrong from Full Metal Alchemist, so he's just thrilled with everything that they do.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about all of the Protoss. So yeah, exactly. Yeah, a highly motivated race. So I'm with it. I get exactly what you mean. Yeah. And then so there's our boy Daggult, who's come up multiple times in these stories.
May or may not be part treant. Still unknown.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He's not a treant. Think about it. Think about it.
Yeah.
You know. I gotta say that he's probably the single most influential guy to never really grasp that brass ring. You know, I mean, I guess he was open lord and he kind of ruled Neverwinter, but I mean, he never really becomes the man. You know what I mean? He becomes like a man multiple times, but never the man.
Yeah. The most familiar besides the MMO that I got to know Neverwinter was the 4th edition campaign book, and it basically just paints Daggult Neverwinter's like a jerk who just kind of came in and just started doing stuff, and everyone went, "I guess."
Well, yeah. In my story, Dungeons and Dragons: A Darkened Wish, he when he's in Neverwinter is hiring all the mercenaries, which is why Mintarn has this boom. And then eventually he's like, "Yeah, no, we're going to have our own navy. It's cool. Don't worry about it." And they're like, "Excuse me, what?" You know, which I can see simultaneously swerving hundreds of mercenaries might not have worked out too well for you. But then Dragon Hundar attacks and they got some other problems in Mintarn. So yeah, that's
just a little bit.
He's a lot of people's inciting incident is what I'm saying.
He really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a great place for problems.
Yep.
But
which is also Neverwinter.
yeah,
Literally Neverwinter. Yeah.
how like that's kind of like recent things. How far back do we know of Neverwinter and what was going on there?
So Neverwinter was originally a settlement from the Elvish kingdom of Illifar.
Mm-hmm.
And it was sort of an outpost that was not just elves. And I don't remember the dates. Let me look.
Oh god, yeah, I had him here.
We'll just
Dates don't stick for me.
While she's looking, I just love the fact that so many of the like wiki entries are written in the past tense. That's just one of their things.
Yeah.
And so they're like, it was formerly a metropolis, formerly a large city. It's like, what happened in Neverwinter?
I know, the D&D
Yeah.
wiki is so apocalyptic.
Yeah. I
Because
mean,
even the gods are in past tense.
right? Yeah. I mean, like the answer is what hasn't happened in Neverwinter, but yeah. They're like, which bridge is still there? Because the nice ones all got wrecked. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Eric.
That's fact.
Yeah, we'll come back. We'll come back to their beautiful
87 Dale Reckoning.
That's
currently we're in like 1491, 2, 3, 4, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were
It's
14
squishy now.
We were 1479 for a really long time. Now I think we're 1491. I think
We're in the 90s.
I think now they try
Hammer
not to
pants.
nail it down too hard. But the 1479 is the year for 4th edition.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Neverwinter's been there for a long time. It's had its problems. I think a lot of its problems hit with the spell play.
Yeah. Well, the one that I read that was
1386, I think. But yeah,
the one that I read that was like connected to something we talked about recently. Apparently, one of those why can't I remember how to say them now? Nerithril? What is it? Yeah. Netheril, there we go. Apparently one of their floating ships or like cities crashed into where is Neverwinter Woods now. And like apparently they dealt with them for a little bit, which is always fun.
Great times.
Yeah. What was that? Oh, okay.
So speaking as someone who wrote a novel when the Neverwinter MMO came out, they gave us a lot of like threats, and they're like, as many of these as you can. So you have like Faye has a dread ring or had a dread ring. Valindra Shadow Mantle was kicking around here. You had Return Netheril. You had the Abelethic Sovereignty. There's a giant chasm. There was anyway a giant chasm full of like spell plague and Abelet in the middle of the city.
Yeah, don't go down in there. Yeah, right.
Well, like and like again, you were saying like there's like 6 problems happening all at once. Like one of them was a primordial woke up underneath the freaking city and was just like, I want a sunlight chasm.
Yep.
Yeah.
You've got the Ashmedai, which is a particularly violent cult of Asmodeus. You had what else? What am I forgetting? Oh yeah, orcs. Orcs had attacked and kind of taken over a quarter of the city. And yeah, I mean, it's almost like there was a gate set there. You should move through all these different threats. They were fun to combine, and I know Bob Salvatore also wrote a trilogy that was largely centered in Neverwinter that played with those as well.
Yeah, that has a lot of things going on.
Yeah, I grabbed the Ashmedai and the Abelis and the orcs. It's a bad place to roll up, not expecting to like actually have any problems.
Especially because you're like Jewel of the North. This sounds lovely. Yeah, and then narrator voice. It is not. Well, it is. It's just like it's got like the wrong side of the tracks are the wrong side of the tracks, man. Yeah,
that's true.
Although the
it's
action,
literally a pit full of Abelots
literally
on that side of the tracks.
Yeah. Which, you know, it tells you everything you need to know about Neverwinter, that the rest of the people didn't leave. You know what I mean? Like imagine if like Hollywood collapsed and there was just a pit of Abelots. But don't get me wrong, it's not far from that now, to tell you the truth. And all the rest of us were just like, yeah, but my lawn's still nice though. Like I just don't.
I also like I enjoy
there's
that
not
this
a giant
happens.
chasm in mine.
Exactly.
The But people stay, so other people flee. By the time of 1479, people are returning and they're being sort of incentivized to return. However, they haven't really fixed any of the problems. There's still a chasm. There's still like a lot of orcs of many arrows who are like not thinking, oh, I do want to live in this city so much as like, I would like to wipe this city out. You have this Daggled Neverwinter's like, it's all fine. It's fine.
He's Leslie Nielsen in front of an exploding firework factory.
Don't ask questions when people disappear.
Yeah. Well, but if you got to think about it, our treant homie Daggled, he's gotten a lot of yards by just doing things and assuming no one would stop him, though. You know, just willing things into existence. Yeah. You know, so
yeah. Man,
I mean, especially considering he's like the third most qualified Neverwinter.
Actually, quick aside, I ran a little bit of Waterdeep Dragon Heist for two of my nephews, and I was like, oh yeah, and then there's a place up north called Neverwinter, and it's ruled by a king called Neverember, and one of my nephews just goes, really? And I was just like, what? He goes, there's a lot of never going on there. And I'm like, you're 10, just go with it.
That's what happens when you make things and they go in different parts, and then eventually they sit on top of each other. You're like, oh no.
You weren't supposed to be here.
Yeah.
I mean, if my last name was Neverember and I knew of a called Neverwinter and there was substantial social upheavals, I probably would try and yoink that one too.
That is a fair point.
Yeah.
It's like, look, legitimacy.
Super plot twist. We technically don't know that Daggled's not one of the still mass lords of Waterdeep while running Neverwinter.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong.
Do you suppose that like really, like anytime somebody is like, oh, I think we should revisit our trade agreements with Neverwinter, everybody's like, no, Daggled. And I'm like, I'm not Daggled. Neverwinter and Waterdeep's relationship is souring simply because everybody's so pissed at Daggled Neverwinter.
There's that one mask lord in every meeting that's like, hey guys, what if we just, gave all of our money to Neverwinter?
Yeah.
It's not even him. It's just somebody's like, this would actually make sense.
Everybody's like, boo, boo. Daggled Neverember. And the crazy thing about D&D is because of magic and the options that exist, just because I know I said when we were talking about the Mass Lords, I'd send out spies to be like, who's not home when the meeting's happening. But there's so many ways to literally be in two places at once. Yeah. So you're like, oh, that doesn't prove anything, really. You're like, I have 1,000 witnesses that I was at this place. It's like, yeah, but it does not mean that you weren't also at that place.
So going back to the threats, we've talked a bit about the spell plague, which has popped up several times throughout Neverwinter's history.
When a volcano erupted, I forgot that.
Yeah, that one. Yep. Oh. No big deal. Just a footnote. What is the spell plague?
Neverwinter it is. Yeah. Yes, please. Spell plague us.
Spell plague us. What is the spell plague, Erin?
The spell plague is the aftermath of the death of Mystra, number 3.
The Reckoning.
The Reckoning. In 1385. I looked it up because I was remembering it wrong. Not the 86, 1385. What is believed to have happened is that Sirik makes it into Mystra's realm and kills her. And when this happens, magic goes just crazy. Lots of wizards die. Lots of wild magic appears. And so you end up with these places where there's these remnants of this sort of wild magic storm. People who come into contact with it are plague changed. Or later, it's a milder thing called spell scarred, which could be cool. You might get a cool power with a major drawback. Or it could kill you and really suck. And so this is what is happening in the chasm too. There is a pocket of plague lands, which I did not check if that's been resolved.
Yeah,
maybe fixed now.
I will put that
because Mr. came back and all of that got fixed.
Yeah, I will put that asterisk, viewers and listeners. We don't have a lot currently in 5th edition on Neverwinter because there hasn't been a written adventure that's gone there, and I don't know if any of the books have. I think they might have, but so there's take a little gray solve, like we don't quite know how that wrapped up yet. Nope.
I really do feel like they let the games be the games, you know.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we're not going to hear too much about Neverwinter or Baldur's Gate, except that they're over there.
Yeah.
You know. Also, maybe there's mind flayers coming out of the sky. Maybe I don't know.
A little thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's the Spellblade came back because of the chasm, because at the bottom of it, like you were saying, is a group of aboleths that were messing with some spell plague, and I don't think we've actually talked about aboleths.
We
talked a little bit about them with the Demogorgon, because there's some of them worshiping the Demogorgon for some reason.
Yeah.
But what's going on with the aboleths and
First of all, you say it very differently than me.
Oh, I do?
And I keep panicking that I say it wrong.
I say aboleth.
Oh, aboleth.
I say aboleth
yeah.
too.
I say aboleth.
It wouldn't be an episode of this show if it weren't, pronunciation.
This is one of the ones that's got a pronunciation.
Ooh.
It is hold on.
I'm probably wrong.
Oh, I have it pumped to the wrong speaker. I think it is aboleth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aboleth. Aboleth.
Aboleth.
Yeah,
Aboleth, yeah.
No, it's aboleth.
Aboleth.
It's aboleth.
I don't like the sound of that one at
I
all.
don't. I don't like aboleth at all. They're gonna stay aboleth. Yeah, no, they're not aboleth.
No. Hard
That's
pass.
interesting.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
So I don't have the wrongest answer. Also great because I did an entire episode of difficulty class talking about those things, and I kept saying aboleth. So aboleth. What's
The
up with
thing
them?
is, though, however you pronounce one of these
Yeah.
words, what happens is everybody else hears it and goes, "Oh no, am I saying it?"
Yeah,
They don't go, Trevor doesn't know how to say aboleth. They go, "Oh
Yep.
shoot."
Yeah, have I been doing it right? Yeah, again, that's the thing about made up words. And I mean, I'm the first guy that's like, that's not how you say that. But when none of us know how to say it, it's a crapshoot. Ever since Bob Salvatore said Menzo Baranzan, my life has been a lie. So, I mean, he could show up tomorrow and be like, no, it's Ebo Leaks. And I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, right.
Lauren just put in the chat that Marisha Ray says aboleth. Oh, interesting. I'm not. Oh,
Okay. We have factions now.
So two of you are wrong. Great.
Okay, so what they are they're basically giant squid monsters, kind of. But they're really intelligent. They're sort of interdimensional. I don't remember where they come. They definitely live in the Underdark.
Yeah.
They also come from space.
Yeah, they come from the same place the mind flayers come, that is space.
The far realm.
Yeah.
Space
Far
and madness. Space madness.
Space madness land.
Their history was a lot more wild than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. They are very central to one of probably my favorite campaigns of all time, which is Night Below, which was a second edition campaign box set. And you start literally from the level 1 adventurers, the killing rats in the basement of the tavern, and it ends up this like huge sweeping battle for the Underdark, and you have to go to war with the aboleths, and if they have their army and you've got your little group, and kind of hope for the best. I keep threatening to facelift it for 5th edition. I actually got real close working with Watsy. About it. Like we were talking, and it was kind of heading that direction, and then I think Saltmarsh came out. There was a lot of old facelifted adventures, and they were like, we scratched that itch, don't worry about it. Now I'm like, but I love Night Below so much. Yeah.
This is okay. So speaking of things that are almost impossible to pronounce, the aboleths have an ancient floating city.
Oh yeah,
that they move
good
around.
Luck. Good luck.
I think it's pronounced Shivu.
Okay.
But it's XXIPHU, which is an appropriately non-English name for something from the far realm.
Yes.
Like, I want those to be.
It was somebody just beat on their typewriter when they needed words for that.
They let their cat
sounds
walk over it.
eldritch?
Yeah, they literally face rolled it. I appreciate they didn't even bother with the pronunciation for this. I'd say Shifu. Is that what you said?
That's what I said. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say Shifu.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's also the site of the Abelethic Sovereignty, which is like a group of this is sort of the organization of the Aboleths. So any kind of planning that Aboleths have, it as frequently connects back to the Abelethic Sovereignty, which is the group in Neverwinter.
I will say the art for Shifu is really lazy. They literally just drew big squids, and it's like, no, they're squid-like. They're squid-like. Keep up. They're not just flying squids. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah, jeez.
Yeah.
Who would ever do that?
Whoever. No, they're three-eyed, four tentacled, one long-tailed squids. Things.
Stuff.
Yeah, that's
mouths.
It's kind of the recurring. It's. I hate to say this because, of course, there's exceptions to this, but a lot of the Far Realms things just get dumped in this one Lovecraftian box of tentacles and psionics and madness. Like we come from this place, we're here now for no good reason, and we want to take over everything because reasons. Yeah, again, the beholders, the aboleths, the mind flayers, all of them are like, we're from a place that we didn't like, and we're in a place that we don't like, and we're gonna make it our place. Okay, and action.
And
yeah.
So what is real quick before we leave the aboleths or whatever I'm saying? What is the aboleth sovereignty?
That's the group. That's basically the organization for the aboleths.
And
it's just the original aboleths and the city of Shifu. They are the ones that are tinkering in the chasm, that are surprise villains in Brimstone Angels.
Although plot twist. But
there's a character from Brimstone Angels that's the villain in the Neverwinter MMO, but I feel like either you know that going in and you just accept that you know how it's going to end up, or it's kind of a spoiler. So. But it's also 10 years old, so I don't know that I'm hiding anything reasonable here.
Yeah,
but legions of new fans are taking that adventure now, having just discovered the wonder of Erin M. Evan. So
what happens when the aboleths sovereignty and the 9 hells butt heads? It's messy.
Hand to God. Hey. No, I legit thought you were about to say what happens when a mommy aboleth loves a daddy aboleth. I was like, I don't want to know, but I can't look away.
I'm like, I don't know how they reproduce, and I don't know that I want to.
Yeah,
but
no
eggs. Look at those things; they lay eggs.
Anywho,
but I do still have a relevant question here. So, the hole got blown in the middle of Neverwinter during the spell plague, but the aboleths did not blow the hole in it, and they weren't already down there. They moved into the hole, right? They were
they were already there.
Were they?
Yes, that's at least that's what the book that I read this morning said.
My apologies, I messed up.
Yeah,
a lot of lore.
The chasm was made by the Titan or primordial waking up in Gontal Grim, and then it was just kind of like the Aboleths like, haha, no one knows we're down here messing with. Oh
no!
There is, I believe, an implication that there's something else down there that they are working on. And I know I had a theory that I kind of nudged forward, but I don't know that it ever got resolved. So it could be whatever you want on your table.
Was it Super Happy Candy Factory where you go down there and there's challenges vaguely representative of the 7 deadly sins?
It was a portal to the land of ice cream and milkshakes.
That's where it is. It's the one place I haven't looked. Yeah.
Hero of the Plains is now just for the next 3 episodes gonna be freely like, we gotta go.
I finally figured out where it is. Let's go. Yeah.
So like I said, there was a primordial there in a place called Gontal Grim, which is pretty connected to Neverwinter. What is Gontal Grim?
Gontal Grim is an ancient dwarven city that was long lost. And I believe that was what Brunar Battlehammer has been looking for a very long time. So when they found it, that was fairly exciting. What is down there, I have to think about because I didn't look up that part.
Oh yeah, the book that I read had essentially like there was some magic metal that they mined down there, and that became the Gontal Grim mines. And then someone came around and was just like, "Yo, what if we built a city around it?"
And we wouldn't have to commute so far,
right?
It's true. Never any negative repercussions of building your city over the mine and then mining as deep as possible. Nothing bad ever happens from that.
Absolutely not. Everything's turned out well for that. Oh gosh, my mind has gone blank with where I was going next. What is another part of Neverwinter that y'all want to talk about?
They're famous for having 3 really, really banging bridges. but two of them fell down.
It's true. They were two of them. They were really great, and then now they're not. Yeah.
The Wyvern Bridge is the one that's the Winged Wyvern, I think, is the one that's left.
Yep.
And the Dolphin and the one that's not, those fell down. I forgot what they're named. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh no, it's okay.
I will just say that one thing we haven't said about Neverwinter is it really was this like wonderful, beautiful haven for like crafts and artists, and like it really
they had
was this
clocks, which is kind of a big deal in the Forgotten Realms.
It's true.
Yep. It's true. They did.
Yeah, no,
until they didn't.
Until they didn't. Yeah, the like we were saying, like you were saying the wrong tracks, like that like it takes it literally, because there's a lot of areas in Neverwinter that it's called the Jewel of the North for a reason. Like it is beautiful structures, amazing artisans, just amazing stuff going on there, and so that's why I think it is really funny that in 4th edition they were like, let's just beat the crap out of it. Let's just send everything bad that way.
Yep.
Let's see, what is
almost like you needed to set an MMO in motion. Yeah.
There's something about that though, that like if you are someone who already knew Neverwinter as the Jewel of the North, and now you see like how much has befallen it, does that make you more interested in saving it because you knew, versus a city like Westgate? Westgate has always been a little bit terrible of a place to live. And so, we've talked before about, you have the city of rogues kind of thing, and you kind of wonder how do you have a city adventure that stays here and focuses on like making this a better place, when it's hard to picture what that is, since intrinsically the city is the city of the people that, steal from each other and don't care about anything. But Neverwinter, here you have like, okay, this was a place where, where art was prized, where like craft was prized, where lots of different people came and lived together in harmony. And, they used their natural resources wisely until the volcano erupted on them, which is sort of the bad side of living by a volcano.
What's the name of that volcano?
Mount Hotenau.
Mount Hotenau.
Yeah.
Fun one to say.
Boom.
It's like a party we're gonna have. We're gonna have us a Hotenau later.
Hot springs.
Yeah.
And the ash cloud.
But what you're saying there with like having a campaign set somewhere, Neverwinter, I know for a fact works really well, because my sister-in-law co-hosts a difficulty class. She's run a game for almost 5 years, I think, in Neverwinter, and essentially just had them like go out and take care of something, and then just had Neverwinter as their home base. She actually originally started it by shorthanding her DMing by just using quests from the MMO. She'd play it, she'd be like, that's a cool quest, she'd write it down and then send her players on it.
Okay.
And it I think Neverwinter, like the Waterdeep's really cool. It's got kind of like the hidden bad stuff going on. It's not so much overtly like, oh, the city is gonna crumble or anything like that. They're like, no, we got walking statues.
There's literally a hole in the middle.
Yeah, literally. Baldur's Gate is very on the nose about it. They're like, nah, we'll kill you.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is one of those things that I think in general, you're like, well, what's better, a renovation or new construction? Because you're like, it's got good bones. I'm like, it doesn't though. There's aboleth in the bones. Yeah,
it's aboleth in the bones.
Like, personally, that's true. Personally, I feel like this is on Mistra, and Mistra should fix this. But
Mistra's like, I help those who help themselves.
It's true. They keep helping themselves to you, though. I do appreciate the actual game Neverwinter retweeted our tweet today about talking about Neverwinter. So we're like, play Neverwinter Nights, kids. It's a very great game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think that actually the mindset of Mistra is probably more like, well, those aboleths are doing magic just fine. Why would I stop them? I gave you the same amount of magic. Are you not going to use it to fix stuff? This is not my problem.
But you didn't give us big squid brains and psionics.
Like, not my job.
Not my job.
Yeah.
Talk to the god of psionics.
The god of psionics.
Is there a god of?
I don't think
probably
there is.
I feel like there is, because there's a god of mythos So I feel like there should be a god of psionics, but it's probably very obscure.
Yeah, I feel like the psionics were always like, because they were from the other place, that it's like they're at a place beyond the gods, I think.
I'm gonna look.
You know what? Dagold Neverwinter is gonna become the god of god of psionics.
It's like a new goal.
He needs something to do.
Yeah. Got some time on his hands.
Deities of psionics is the whole section on the psionics page. I'm just telling you.
Breaking lore, ladies and gentlemen.
It's true, but wait, but are any of the ones we know, or are they just sort of like, I'm not the god of psionics?
Yeah, some of them. Okay, so Openser, who is a deity of Jamdath and is therefore dormant, I think.
These are all like dark sun gods. These are like
Deep
dark sun gods, aren't they? Yeah.
Deep Dwera counts as a Dwerger demigod. Denir, apparently, the god of writing, encompasses psionics.
Nope.
The Duergar. You're not gonna like anything I say.
No.
It specifically says Mistra and Shar, each goddesses of their own kinds of magic, did not oversee the appearance of psionic talent or the propagation of psionic knowledge in Faerun.
See, Mistra's like, I don't know.
It's not my job.
Yeah, they do stuff with and all the aberrant mind sorcerers are like, wait, what? You know, she's like,
sorry, you've been getting magic from a Openser, apparently.
Yep.
One of the other, places that is pretty iconic there is Neverwinter Castle. And there's some weird stuff that goes on there, specifically isn't there like a dungeon or something underneath it? And that's where the crown's being held.
I mean, sounds pretty on point.
Yeah, it sounds pretty on point. Yeah. Because I do remember that from the 4th edition stuff, there was a whole thing with the crown and that Dagold Neverwinter wasn't rightfully king.
Oh, yeah.
But I think they I think they did make it so that he is king of Neverwinter now. Because they're like, I guess we're just not getting rid of this dude.
Yeah,
I got rid of him in my game.
Move out.
I was about to say until he decides that he wants to go to Baldur's Gate or whatever's next for him. They're just like
he's
that's
playing
how you
bingo.
get rid of Dagold Neverwinter. You point at someone else and you say, "Wouldn't it be cool to be king of that city?"
Yeah,
it's just sitting there.
It's about the time
democratically electing its council. I think you could take him.
It's about the time that the people with the pitchforks and the torches show up that he's just like, I don't like it here anymore. I want to go to that city.
Yeah. So long, you won't have Dagold Neverwinter to kick around anymore.
Turns into a giant tree, walks away.
Yeah.
I knew it.
A tree apparently shaped like Richard Nixon. Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
man! If I ever have Neverwinter show up in my game on screen, I'm going to just talk like Richard Nixon for him now.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yep. It's new Neverwinter, especially because he went there after being exiled from Waterdeep, which again, not 100% clear. I feel like Laeral Silverhand would out him if she knew that he was still on the council, though. She'd be like, that guy. that guy right there. But yeah, could you imagine you get kicked out of running Waterdeep, and then you're like, I'm gonna go take me a new city, and just walk in like, hey, I'm in charge now, and they're like, he must be a king. He hasn't got crap all over him.
They look around at the rest and they're like, well, somebody's got to be in charge.
Yeah,
so sure.
They're like, well, can you help with the giant chasm, the mind flayers, the aboliths, the volcano,
the necromancers in the woods?
Yeah.
He's like,
yeah, sure. Yeah.
I got this. Just point me towards the castle. Hey, think about it. I was open lord of Waterdeep. Are there any aboleths or holes in the ground? Skullport is way down in there, and everything we all get along great.
It's enclosed. It's not a chasm. It's a cave kind of thing. It's fine.
Everyone was worried because there's a giant mega dungeon under the city, and I was like, what if we made it a tourist attraction?
Yeah, what if we charged admission? Yeah, exactly. That's the easiest way to sort that out. Is just pump it.
Also helps the population. It's a win-win.
Yeah. Under me, the giant rat population has dropped to 0. Yeah. I get the sales pitch.
Exactly. Before we check in with what chat's been up to, are there any other points that we want to hit on Neverwinter? Because I mean, there's a lot of stuff to talk about Neverwinter and the surrounding area. There's Neverwinter Woods. There's the fact that they fight with Luskin all the time, who we've talked about before.
I mean, who doesn't?
Yep.
It was kind of funny to read in the history that apparently the settlement that was there before Luskin got destroyed, but like the people that would become Neverwinter tried to stop it and then made that new settlement, and they're like, we're gonna rename this place Luskin so it doesn't have as bad of luck, and then they're like, we're gonna stab you.
True.
But yeah, any last points on Neverwinter that you want to hit, or that you feel confident in talking about?
Raid Brimstone Angels. Sorry.
Do that.
Yeah, do. She's like, there's all sorts of things I don't want to spoil for you.
No,
I know, right? Yeah. I'm like, there's the House of Knowledge, which is interesting, and there's what are the Harpers doing? But again, all of that is a little out of date if you're trying to stay super current.
Yeah.
But it's good background because knowing just how bad it was.
Mm-hmm.
It's not out of date because they haven't exactly updated it. Also, there's some Breaking Darth there if you want some hot Drow pirates.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's some official top flight, top shelf, white
This
glove,
is-
pinky up, Drow pirates.
This is also a thing. Like, if you want to put something in your game and you are trying to sort of balance how much am I gonna go with like canon and how much am I going to give myself space, like Neverwinter, everything fits there. Everything fits there. It's like Waterdeep, but it's needs more help.
I do think that it's probably
more community involvement.
Yeah, like for the table, it's kind of probably the most malleable, that you can just kind of change whatever you want with it much easier if you're trying to stick to lore for Waterdeep and Baldur's Gate. I mean, like I said, in my game, Dagult Neverember got ousted like years ago, and I have my own original character that's king there because I found it easier to work with my players that way. But oh man, I had one other one and I can't remember what it is now.
I'll just say Neverwinter's post-apocalyptic Waterdeep.
Yeah, there we go.
I do like that. Oh, what I was going to say is, this is a show for Isle Champions, and you can still play Isle Champions while you check out Neverwinter, which I do suggest checking out. That's where Sergeant Knox is from. You can see why he loves Protector's Enclave, and there's a couple other people in that game who are champions in Isle Champions. You can do a couple missions with Minsk. It's real cool. So it's good for the eyes, boo.
True.
All right, let's see what chat has been up to while we were talking away. Catch23 says, well dang, we need Treavor and Bardic inspiration last week. One person in there who knew anything about Sergeant Knox.
Oh no.
Hey, that's okay. Because again, that's kind of actually what's cool about Sergeant Knox is the fact that he is in the MMO and he's there to essentially give quests and make you feel awesome. And that's why I like putting him in the game, because you can do literally anything you want with him. So whatever they did with him is good. Let's see. Shaydark Song. I know I said that wrong last time.
Shaydark Song.
Shaydark Song. Shaydark Song. Yeah, I know I said it last time wrong. Sorry about that. The 90s come again. Do you think jean shorts will make a comeback? Will jean shorts make a comeback in the 1490 DR?
Did they ever leave?
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah. No, I think they're just catching on. Like, I very much feel like dwarvish moms are about to go through their Stetson phase. You know what I mean? Like big hair. You know what I mean? Like high-rise, stonewashed jeans.
My gosh.
Yeah. Wait till the gnomes find out about tie-dye. Yeah.
Who would be rocking the parachute pants, though?
Torques.
I love it. I love it.
And then they have to hammer dance. If you know, you know, kids. If you know, you know.
Exactly. Exactly. Let's see.
I mean, there's on your sweet ass Dritz shirt there. There's like a very much an 80s component with the neon Guinevere in the background.
I got like a subscription thing for D&D shirts where I get one once a month, and I was like, oh, sweet Dritz. I'm like, also Vaporwave? All right, well, I'm into it.
Yeah. That's it. That's Neverwinter.
Yeah. Yes.
Perfect.
Chrono Alarm says, I mean, credit where credit is due. Second edition did give a lot of backstory and world building for like Forgotten Realms and Neverwinter and whatnot. But I think that's where it started. True. So
yeah,
it's a good thing it did that.
And we did sort of skip over the years of Lord Nasher, I think. Because this is the part I know less.
Yeah. I genuinely could not tell you who was king before. Because my knowledge mainly goes in 4th edition. While you do
I forgive you for that, Trevor.
One day, Lauren and I are going to get you in a game. It's going to be a charity game. You're going to have no choice but say yes. It's going to be great.
Oh, my one weakness. How dare you?
It was
Nasher. Yeah, Nasher Alexander before. Yep.
Let's see. Something really witty says, question for the champions. What is your favorite setting or thing within Neverwinter?
It's a spoiler a little.
Oh. Spoiler for what?
It's in Brimstone Angels. Well, okay, here's the thing that's not a spoiler. There's the thing in Brimstone Angels, the setup thing, and then if you know, you know. The House of Knowledge is a temple of Agma, which at the time was treating people who had been spell scarred by the chasm in hopes to like try to find a cure. And one of the hospitalers there, one of the people working on them was this woman, Rohini. But Rohini is actually a succubus sent by the 6th layer.
Ooh.
And I enjoy the idea of like you have the people trying to do good, and then how do these other factions kind of come into it, because she's looking for people to corrupt, but also ways to like take the information back and use it for the 9 hells. But that's my thing, so that's why I say I like that best. I do think the chasm is kind of delightful.
I do too.
It's just this giant hole.
Yeah,
and I am a fan
don't
of,
go there, yeah.
I have to admit, like there was a point in our Dungeon Scrawlers game where we were like, where is even a volcano? We need to destroy this thing. And I'm like, Mount Hope now, right? It's the volcano I know.
It's the volcano.
And living in a city that is in the shadow of a volcano, like I sympathize.
Yeah. I do think mine's gonna be the chasm, like because I ran games there, like I kind of loved the chasm because I'm like, oh, this is an excuse that I can just throw whatever I want at them because the Underdark and a Bolus are there. Let's go.
And weird magic.
Yeah. That's where I fell in love with Nothics. I really love Nothics.
It's so great. Creepy.
What about you, Dave?
The true answer is the chasm, but I have to switch it up. So when in Dungeons and Dragons: The Darkened Wish in season 3, 2. 3, they spent some time in Neverwinter, and most of our time was on the outskirts and in like the caves and the pools and all that stuff around. Like there's a lake near there, and on the other side of the lake there was like fighting pits and stuff. That's so like most of our story was there. So I very much described is like Neverwinter's kind of post-apocalyptic Brooklyn, and then they left. Yeah, so that's it. Kind of the area outside around the city. I think it would be my favorite, although it's also the chasm because there's like squiddy babies down in there.
I like that.
And who knows what else?
And literally who knows what else?
Is it that portal?
Catch 23 comes back and says, Bardic Inspiration wrote a lovely song, basically like, move to Neverwinter. It's lovely here. And I just imagine that song is such a joke in Neverwinter. See, Catch 23, they did write an awesome song.
I don't know. I feel like people who live in Neverwinter, I like to believe that people who live in Neverwinter, who are not members of the aforementioned factions of evildoers, really believe in this city and bringing it back to its full potential. So they probably love that song.
Yeah, but
they're also like, accept adventurers, maybe back it off. Stop pissing off the aboleths.
Or like more, just do what Daggle did in Waterdeep. Just start pumping adventurers down into that hole. Because I'm like, you could be as happy as you like about your condo, about your third floor walk up, but the freaking Sarlacc is over there and it's full of psionic squids.
I love the idea of like Daggle Neverwinter is like, okay, I get it. The area around the chasm is pretty dangerous. We got Nothics, we got spell plagued. I get that. How close could we put a ticket booth?
Let's be honest. We've been going down there for free for years,
right?
You know what I mean? So yeah, if there was a queue, if you had to make a reservation, yeah.
We're all a bunch of suckers. Let's see here.
That's why that man's in charge. He's got vision.
I've always so this is from Seiko Triller. I've always wondered, does Neverwinter really never have winter?
Okay, so this is a thing I found out when I was writing Brimstone Angels, is that there are like a bunch of different stories about why it's called that. Which is, I think, mostly different writers coming up with a reason and not realizing someone had already said a reason. So some of them are the person who founded its name was Never. And some of them are about like, but yeah, in general, it's named, the most of the stories are, it's named that because the winters are very mild. It's not that it's never winter, but it is that their growing season is extended because of the hot springs.
Yeah.
And magic.
In magic. Yeah.
Now I don't know. Like, what happens to your hot springs when they're infected with aboleths?
Grow nothing but chili peppers. Habanero. Far as the eye can see. Yeah, that was my understanding as well. Mild winters and a lot of magic that just kind of kept it nice year round.
Yeah.
Especially because it's fairly far north. So it's like not nice all around it. And then like it's nice right there.
I the first time I ever used Neverwinter, it was actually in a homebrew world that I did. I had the book and I really fell in love with the city, and I'm like, okay, but like I don't want to just slap Neverwinter into my cities or my place, especially since it wasn't anywhere near the coast. So I actually had it that Neverwinter was even further north in like the glacial area, and because it had a primordial under it, it allowed it so there was this one patch of like green land inside of this like glacial center, and it was kind of cool because I also kept them from going anywhere else that they, might adventure off.
Don't go over there, it's full of blizzards, and I didn't write anything for it yet.
Exactly. I appreciate you literally put up zone lines around Neverwinter.
It was like literally the first time I was DMing, so I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
The moment you're like, there's nothing over there is the moment they're like, then we're heading that way, Yeah, right.
Find something.
I do also quickly want to mention, because it is really cool, in the 4th edition book, it goes over Neverwinter in the Shadowfell, where it's called Evernight, and there's like a river of lava. It's kind of cool.
I find the 4th edition variations on the Shadowfell and the Underdark are delightful.
It's true.
I should also probably mention the DM for Dungeon Scrawlers, Eric Scott DeBee, was one of the authors of the Neverwinter campaign settings.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Well, I love that book.
Also, some other lovely people. I think it's Matt Cernett and Ari Marmel, and they're all great. But specifically, since I work with Eric, I should say Eric wrote that, and it turned out really good.
Let's see. Chrono Alarm says Abolas are a bit odd because I think like Rakshasas, they just regenerate even if you beat them. They like just come back to life after on. So they're reoccurring villains, so that's why they're lower CR. You beat them, but they just keep coming back. Do they regenerate?
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
but,
I don't remember.
It doesn't mean it's not a thing.
Yeah, I just know there's a lot of them, and you can just never stop them from showing up.
Remember seeing that their CR was surprisingly low.
It's CR 10 in 5th edition.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, they regenerate on the plane of water and respawn exactly where they died a few weeks later.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, that's wild. See, I missed that in my difficulty class episode. You learn something new every day. Thank you, Chrono Alarm.
Well, that's because what adventurer stays where they killed everything for weeks? You know what I mean? So they're like, well, this is all wrapped up, and the Aboleth are like, bold of you to assume.
They
are like huge and terrifying and terrible. So.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
Big gross squiddy babies.
Let me see here. Sorry, I'm trying to go through these. I'm not
through all the comments of how wonderful we are, how beautiful.
Yes, I have to get through all the navel gazing first.
Yes, it's the name of the spinoff.
That's the name of our spinoff. I was Champions of Navel Gazing. Let me see here.
Champions of Lore, Champions of Psychology crossover, Champions of Navel Gazing.
Oh, I like this. Evil Emperor Zurg would talk.
Aboleth comes back. Is it the same Aboleth, or is it a different Aboleth? Because
it's the Aboleth of Theseus. We just have to cut one into pieces, and then
Theseus.
ask
Oh
ourselves
my
which
God.
aboleth is it? Is it this aboleth that we cut up, or is it this other aboleth? Yeah.
I can't wait for that to make its way to the MCU. So Vision can be like, have you ever heard of the Aboleth of Theseus?
The aboleth is exactly.
Evil Emperor Zerg.
And the other one goes, the Ebola of Theseus?
Yeah. Mind beam. Yeah.
Evil Emperor Zerg. This is talking about psionic gods. Mistra, that's not magic, so that's not my job. I'm not gonna fix that. I really love that.
I like that.
Oh, this is Jacob Blackman says, doesn't Valindra's Shadow Mantle use Castle Never as her fortress? I don't believe so. But I know Valindra, she loves mucking around there. I also just kind of love Valindra as a villain. She's fun.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't remember specifics.
Yeah, you know, just
Valindra's.
a wild elf lich lady. No problems there.
As one does. No, I don't think I think she might have wanted the castle. And I mean, there's so many stories about all these places. There very much may be one where she had the castle for a time.
It's true.
But
also,
canonically, I don't think she ever was just like chilling in there.
Oh my gosh.
It's possible that she was, because she's in the Dritz series, which takes place ahead of the 4th edition timeline, which is also ahead of Dagult Neverember moving in.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
it
but
could
I mean-
be that we're forgetting that.
Okay.
I mean, her later story, she was in Shulton and then she was in Thay. So if she had it, she cleared out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, no, she's definitely not there now. Dagult
Yeah.
walks in, he's like, why does it smell like lich in here?
Lich, please.
Lich, please. I really like this. Oh god. Oh, Cassius335 says Briv and parachute pants. The mind boggles.
Yeah, I believe when we were fancy, he described in Idle Champions Presents we were fancy. I think he described him as in parachute pants. I
he
know they
did.
ended at
He
his
was like a
knees. 'Cause-
jester, right?
yeah, but they were like parachutey pants
But
because he
just-
wanted to show off how great his calves are.
But just imagine like in Idle Champions, because he does the jump. Like he jumps up in one screen and then it switches to the next room. He comes down, the pants poof, just floats down. Literal parachute pants.
Literal parachute pants.
My gosh. Let's see. Counting Coup says some of my favorite classes and were in 4th edition, like Warden and Avenger. If you want Avenger, check out Paladin of Vengeance. That's real close. But I do miss the Avenger.
You know, zone of safety, and I know lots of people that started in 4th edition, and you know, good on you. But that's
this is gonna happen.
That's just the shortest way to be back in my day. Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, nobody needed to play 2nd edition. 2nd edition was hate based. If like you don't like your players, that's why you play AD&D. Like we all think about it. It's like growing up with our like really kind of abusive grandfather that we just laugh off because he's dead now.
Oh my
But was really not okay if you think about what actually happened.
my God.
But 3.5 was a lot of fun. It just got out of hand. It got very cumbersome and bloated with a lot of and then 4th edition was an attempt to clean all of that up and appeal to the MMO crowd. But people like me went on the mass exodus to Pathfinder because we were like, that's not D&D. And then 5th edition was like, what if we brought back everything you loved and got rid of the stupid parts? And it was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
And this has been your D&D history with B. Dave Walters. Join us
That's
next
what
week.
happened. Yeah. Hopefully you never have to calculate that go and don't know what I mean when I say a 1800 strength. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Ben bars lift gates, yo. Ben bars lift gates.
I mean, if you end up playing the old Baldur's Gate games, you'll know exactly what he means. But I think that is going to be all the time we have this week for lore. Erin, B-Dave, where can people find you and what awesome things are you working on?
You can find me on Twitter at Erin M. Evans. You can catch me with these guys talking about writing on our podcast, Writing About Dragons and Shit, which updates on Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the topic for this week.
It is info
Time is a
dumps,
flat
and there's
circle.
totally
that was
not
this one?
Oh wait, no, that's next week. Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's an
What's
episode
going
out today. Go enjoy it. Structure.
Yeah,
Structure.
It's a surprise.
Hey,
It's a surprise.
It is a surprise.
Oh, it's structure. Okay.
Near dear to my heart.
I also forgot to say I play Cecilia on Dungeon Scrawlers, which is a live D&D game played by a bunch of fantasy writers, which is at 6:30 p.m. Pacific on Wednesday. So tonight, twitch.tv/Dungeon Scrawlers. I am not playing tonight. I am taking a break, but they are doing a very fun thing and silly thing where people can join our Discord, come on the voice channel, and have their characters interview to be our party's accountant. So
there may or may not be a possibly sort of known wizard goblin that tries out for it.
Trevor's gonna do it. All right, it sounds so much fun. I'm like, oh, why did I say I was gonna take a break? This sounds like I want to do it too.
The universe will test your resolve. Yes.
I'm just gonna show up as my character and be like, we don't need an accountant. The vase in the hallway was doing fine and it doesn't charge a fee.
Or show up and apply to be the accountant. You're already not a warlock. You can be not an accountant.
They won't trust me with their money. Okay. But anyway, so that's fun. You should check that out. For more details, you can look at our Twitter at Dungeon Scrawl.
Absolutely.
B. Dave Walters, say words about things. Monday, DMing a level 20 campaign for Wave of Rape Crisis Center with a whole bunch of people: Travis McElroy, Bria Iyengar, Tanya DePass, Satine Phoenix, and Amy Dolan.
And Charlene Byer. Yep.
Charlene Byer.
Nice.
So that's Monday. Next week, the 16th and 17th, I will be all up in D&D Live. So come check that out. That should be a lot of fun. And of course, Thursdays, 4 p.m. Pacific, D&D, Twitch, and YouTube for the Black Dice Society.
Awesome. Where totally great things happen every time. No one is sad. Oh, audio listeners, you're missing out right now.
It's a very beautiful print of our artwork. Yes. Available now.
Yeah. You can find me on the Difficulty Class podcast every Friday, as well as on Twitter at the Treavor. There's an A hiding in there, and actually semi-relevant to this. Tomorrow on my personal Twitch channel, twitch.tv/the Treavor, I'm gonna open a bunch of the new Magic the Gathering packs that have D&D stuff in them. So it's releasing on MTG Arena tomorrow, and so I'm going to open a bunch of them on stream and maybe play with them. Come over and help me build a deck. So we'll find out. But that is going to do it. Thank you to Jay for moderating the chat as always, and thank you to Codename Entertainment for letting us have some fun talk about D&D. If you missed any part of this show, you can listen to it later on your favorite podcast service at 2 p.m. And remember, if you have any suggestions for future topics you want to hear us talk about, you can send those into Champions of Lore at codenameentertainment.com. Schedule time, which I actually have up this time. Mars's Guiding Hand is at 1 p.m. So if you're here in the chat, be sure to stick around for that. And then at 3 p.m., the Sketching Hour will be back. So check out both of those shows and have a fun time with them and the people in the chat. Let's see. I think that is all of the updates that I have. Yes, that is. So be sure to check out those shows. Have fun. But until next week, Champions out.